So I really like Suzuki for lots of reasons, and in one sense, they're kind of simple cars. They're put together using simple, in some ways, technology. They keep it old school. There's buttons for absolutely everything, and they're just easy cars to get in behind the wheel of, and within a few seconds become very familiar with how to drive it. And there's a lot to be said for that in this age of touchscreens for this. And where are the USB charging points? Because I can't see them anywhere. Anyway, welcome to Nobby on Cars. This is the Suzuki S-Cross Motion. There's still incredible value with the brand as well, because for a little over €32,000 you can get a new one of these. So it's a 1.5 full hybrid AGS transmission, which is Suzuki's way of doing a kind of automatic best of both worlds meets manual transmission. So you can actually manually change gear if you want. I don't know why you would, because it's a very simple, straightforward automatic system. There's also paddles on the steering wheel if you really are that way inclined and you want to change gear by yourself. So it is a self-charging hybrid, and Suzuki claim this car is more efficient than the Qashqai e-Power, the HEV Kia Sportage, the same engine that's in the Hyundai Tucson, and many more in the field. And ever so slightly, they have this sitting at the top of the economy list. So this S-Cross is made in Hungary. It's got 115 brake horsepower. The front is kind of, out on its own, because there's no mistake that this is a Suzuki. A huge big S badge on the front, nice bits of chrome, and even this standard car, there's really bright LED lights, and everything just looks really crisp. Now, that's not to say this is a brand new model of Suzuki S-Cross. It's not. Very much looks like the versions that have been on sale for the last couple of years. On this one, it's sitting on 17-inch alloy wheels. They actually are fine for the size. They really are grand. A bit of plastic here gives you a kind of a rugged sense of the car. There is that higher seating position. I'm in the middle of absolutely nowhere today, and I've been driving along kind of hedges that your view might be obstructed in a standard or a kind of coupe lower down car, but there's good visibility in this. You've got roof rails on the top, no glass roof on this one. Which brings me around to the back of the vehicle. Again, there's no major frills, there's no electric boot, just really clear, good looking rear light clusters. There are definitely similarities between this and a RAV4, the current model, just a little bit kind of a smaller version of it. Bits of plastic down here as well. You don't notice that in the darker colours. Might be great to look at on the brighter stuff. Boot is, again, it's just simple, straightforward. Couple of charging options. There's a light under here. Is not an awful lot because you have that hybrid battery going on. It's also 140 volt, so the idea of it is that there's always a nice little surge of torque there for you if you're taking along. Then in the back of the S-Cross there is kind of a low enough roof here, so you gotta watch ducking your head on that. There is an armrest which is perfectly decent for what you might need it for. It does dip down a bit of an angle there. No charging options back here in the car, and the legroom, it's not extensive, but it is acceptable. You can also tuck your feet under the seats, which is nice. There's a good bit of height for your toes down here, and again, head height's perfectly okay. I think if there was a glass roof in this car, it might impede on your head space anyway, so maybe better off. It's all plasticky and dark, but again, for the price of the car, brand new, there's not an awful lot to complain about. And I really like the bottle holders in the rear doors because they're huge. Again, it's business as usual here in the front of the Suzuki. I love the way there's just physical buttons for everything. If you want to figure out how to put on your cruise control, there's a button for that. If you want to hide the volume on the radio or turn off your lane assist, there is a button for that. So if you love the idea of physical buttons for lots of things, this is a car for you. If I'm driving along and it's too hot or too cold, I can feel around for that knob and turn it down and it instantly gets cooler. There's a good leather covered armrest. Again, the Ultra Spec, not quite sure if they're going to bring it here to Ireland, but that will get you leather seats and just a few nicer luxuries, upgraded alloy wheels, stuff like that. The screen could probably be a little bit bigger, if I'm honest. Ignore the MPG because this car has 15 miles on it, so it hasn't bet in any capacity. I'd love to drive it for a bit more to give you a decent range. Guesstimate, Suzuki claims somewhere between 4 and 6 litres per 100 kilometres. This isn't a venture with Toyota, unlike some of their other cars. Again, more physical buttons here for your heated seats. There's a USB charging point. Nothing fancy like USB-C. No, thank you. Bit of storage down here for cup holders. There's a manual handbrake. So I don't want to call it old school. It's not. It feels very modern in here. But the point is, it's just simple. It's straightforward. It's like, look, it's tried and tested. So let's just stick with it. And you know, as much as yes, everything is black and a little bit hard, it feels like decent quality. You know, everything is put together well. Lovely wrapped steering wheel, old school needles on the dash of your instruments, but then that is integrated with an infotainment bit in the center, which is full digital and color. So it's, again, like the transmission, it's sort of like the best of both worlds. Good level of safety on all models as well. Blind spot, collision avoidance, driver's knee airbag, traffic sign recognition, rear cross traffic monitoring. Good safety, again, the value, you know, is really, really good. So you have the automatic gear box. I don't know why you'd go near it. I think you'd probably just leave it alone. If you do want to put it into M, you then control using the manual paddles on the gear shifter. Is that something you want to do? I really don't. I don't see why. Maybe if you're in an off-road situation or something, but then you would go for a Suzuki that you can get with all-wheel drive in Ireland at the moment. As I mentioned, really high up seating positions, so plenty of visibility around country lanes and anything like that. And the way the hybrid works with the engine, you can see it obviously when it's in mode where it's charging the battery from the engine, but there's always enough torque, so it almost feels a little bit dead when you accelerate. It's like, is something happening here? But then quite quickly the battery has propelled the car along, and I think because the engine isn't necessarily revving to do that, it feels like there's nothing much going on when in fact there is. I am dying to see the real fuel economy in the car. You know, I don't even want to quote it because it's just not fair. As I said, there's now a little over 20 kilometers on the mileage on this car, so it just wouldn't be fair. I'd need to take it for a longer drive, and I'll go on a bit of a spin now and just see what it improves to. In terms of comfort, you know, it's not harsh. It's reasonably good on these kind of back rural roads here in Ireland. You know, these are the kind of roads that you wouldn't be fitting two cars down in one go because you'd have to let somebody by or pull in. The armrest, because you can't adjust the height on it, that could be seen as a little bit low, and then the same for this part of the driver's door, so you're kind of hunking down. So if you do want to rest the elbow, you might have to settle for the top part of the door here. And yeah, that's a bit hard. If it was the summertime, you'd have a big lagging jacket on you to keep you warm. But the main thing is, because of how this hybrid system is working for me today, it's a very quiet car. You don't have to rev it. And if you do, it obviously picks up speed very, very quickly. In terms of body roll, there's a good bit of that, all right, but you know, most people don't drive a car like this down a country road. It's my phone knocking from side to side, by the way. It's not anything in the car. But then again, it would still corner all right. I mean, you are sitting a bit higher up, so you're going to pay some sort of a trade-off for that. But as I said, you're not going to be driving a car like that. Beautiful part of Ireland actually around here is around Loch Ree. Everyone's very friendly. Everyone waves at you as you go by. I think, is it the one finger if you know them, and the two fingers to say thanks as you go by if you don't. I think that's the rule in Ireland. Let me know in the comments, please, if you've heard it another way. So again, drives very like the previous S-Cross that we've had on the channel. Main difference is this will be a little bit easier on juice. You have that automatic transmission and that price tag, which is really quite hard to compete with in Ireland these days. For this size of car and the overall package that you're getting as standard. I will get to drive the car for a full week later on in the year, and I'll get a good idea of how reliable those fuel economy quotes are that Suzuki have claimed in the car. But generally, judging by a lot of their other models, you know, they are easy on fuel, and that's one of the best things about this type of transmission. It claims to have the best of both worlds. It's kind of like a no-frills car with Suzuki reliability, good driving position, but it just for me keeps coming back to the price. And the price of cars in Ireland today, one of these for €32,000, it's kind of hard to argue with it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.